Notre Dame had no trouble whatsoever knocking off Navy here in snowy South Bend by a final score of 49-10. It's the Irish's 7th straight victory. And, Jack, when you look at all the wins in that span, this one ends up being one of the easier ones. I think of the Arkansas game, this one, and because to me the final score is pretty indicative of the way that Notre Dame played in this thing. It was close for a while, 7-7, deep into the second quarter, and then Notre Dame got up by 2 scores and never really looked back from there. We'll talk about everything that happened. Really in the third quarter, I think, is when you knew, okay, yep, Notre Dame's going to win this game. Just need to know by how many. And like I said, it ends up being by 39, and Notre Dame really looked the part in that 39-point victory.
First of all, I wanted on record that I wanted to do this outside so it'd be more authentic. Like CJ Carr said after the game, Southern boys can't handle it. Notre Dame out-yarded, is that a word? I'm making it a word. Out-yarded Navy 502 to 228. You said we knew this was over in the third quarter. I would say we knew this was over before the game when Blake Horvath was ruled out with an upper body injury. Not that he would have brought Navy to a victory over Notre Dame, but without Blake Horvath, Navy started Braxton Woodson. It was a elusive runner, tough, good amount of speed, not as explosive, and certainly not as good in the passing game as Horvath. Navy really reverted to the traditional flexbone triple option. They run more shotgun veer stuff usually. They were traditional flexbone today. Notre Dame was very well prepared for it. Obviously, Navy put together a drive. They chipped away at Notre Dame a little bit. They completed like one pass in the 2-minute drill to Eli Heidenreich. But for the most part, this was a game dominated by Notre Dame on both sides of the ball. Starting with the offense, Navy, much like Boston College, really loaded up to stop the run. Notre Dame took advantage.
Yeah, and CJ Carr is the reason Notre Dame is able to take advantage. I asked Marcus Freeman about him in the postgame, asked CJ himself about how he's able to just really dial in on these deep balls. I mean, it was early. It was the first possession there. He throws one to Malachi Fields, and it's like, okay, yep, if that's going to be there all night, which it kind of was, KK Smith gets a 34-yard touchdown reception, and CJ didn't have to do a whole lot but make those throws and then make the easy ones. Like his touchdown to Jordan Faison was a nice little out, bang, 5 yards, you're in the end zone, and then a short one to Ty Washington. Like he hits the deep passes, he hits those short ones, and you wind up being 13 for 16 for 218 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating through the roof once again. Like Jack, you said it, when Notre Dame runs into a situation here 2 weeks in a row now where the defense says, we're going to load up the box. We're going to try to bottle up Jeremiyah Love. We'll get to that, by the way, because you didn't completely bottle him up if you're Navy. CJ Carr takes advantage, and that's a huge thing for this offense. And the wide receivers are doing their thing, too.
Yeah, it's a pick-your-poison offense. Malachi Fields was the guy today. We kind of suspected he would be. He's the best, win-over-the-top kind of guy Notre Dame has. He's not the fastest guy, but he's got more than enough speed. He knows how to use his 6'4" frame to leverage guys when he does get a step, so he doesn't need much to get a step on a defender. He was great tonight. 4 catches, 97 yards, all pretty early in the game. Did have a drop, but he doesn't have a drop problem by any stretch. That was an outlier.
It's as you can see, it was an Elementi type game, so maybe that played into that drop.
KK Smith with the touchdown. I will say with the run game, it struggled at first because Navy was loading the box to stop it. Notre Dame really stuck with it. They didn't abandon the run.
Yeah, the final numbers look pretty good.
The final numbers look pretty good because Notre Dame, even the Jeremiyah Love incredible play notwithstanding, they stuck with it. They moved the line of scrimmage more. They created bigger holes. Jadarian Price got going a little bit. Aeneas Williams had a massive hole to run through on his long touchdown run with the second-team offense. But we do have to go back to that Jeremiyah Love play because that was completely incredible.
I mean, we were talking amongst ourselves in the press box, like, is that Notre Dame's moment of the year? And you can go all the way back to the CJ Carr touchdown against Miami. I thought that was miraculous, but you lose that game. And even Jadarian Price's kick return touchdown against USC gets a little buried because you end up winning that game by 10. It was a huge play in that game, but this was
more impossible.
In terms of what he did, I pretty much put it out there on social media that, like, I don't think anyone else in the country, maybe Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, that dude is unreal as well, but it's like weekly where Jeremiyah Love is doing this, and I think he only touches the ball 14, 15 times in this football game, but one of those is going to be unbelievable if he gets 14, 15 in any single game. And like you said, Jack, this one, I mean, I don't know if you want to take the people through it. They've seen the highlight, but, like, I gave up on the play. I was about to do something else on my laptop, and I look up, and he's still running.
The only offensive non-quarterback you're taking in the country is maybe Jeremiyah Smith.
Yeah.
That's probably a positional value thing more than anything else. Jeremiyah Love is simply incredible. He has earned, in my opinion, at least consideration to get a trip to New York.
He's got to be in New York.
He's probably not going to win the award. Probably mostly because Notre Dame doesn't really have the opportunity for like a Heisman moment down the stretch that like an Indiana or an Ohio State that's going to play in a conference championship, or an Alabama who plays a bunch of great teams is going to have. But man, Jeremiyah Love has been incredible. He's passed 1,000 total yards. I think he was already past that.
Yeah.
Very nearly 1,000 rushing yards on the season. He had another 120 plus total yard game, a touchdown.
And that brings his average down for the season, which is how good he's been. But he's still number 2 in the country in yards from scrimmage per game, I believe.
He just makes something out of nothing. Marcus Freeman was in like disbelief after the game. He can't believe it either. I don't think any of us can believe it. Like I think Malachi Field said he and CJ Carr like exchanged a look while it was happening. Like there's just no way.
And this is really the first time in the Marcus Freeman era where he's been able to publicly vouch for one of his guys as a Heisman Trophy candidate, and he did it. He said, yeah, absolutely. Like, there's no question about it. This is a guy who deserves Heisman Trophy consideration. I think we both agree. There's a lot of people out there who agree. The running game with the offense is the last point I wanted to touch there, because the last thing I want to say on that is you're able to only, like, CJ Carr only had to throw the ball 16 times in this game, and I think that is a testament to sticking with the run.
Yep.
Yeah, you had the 48-yarder from Love, and Aeneas Williams gets a long touchdown in the end too, so that's going to inflate stats a little bit, but they stuck with it, and that was the theme of the night. And look, if teams are going to pick their poison and say, CJ Carr, you're going to have to beat us, he's capable. He's done it 2 weeks in a row now where he hits the long ball over the top, and that's just demoralizing for an opposing defense. Speaking of defense.
Real quick on the offense, we do have to credit the offensive line, because they not only improved run blocking over the course of the game, CJ Carr was barely touched. There was one play I can remember him. It's been great all year. It was especially great tonight. I know it's Navy, but there was one play where you can remember CJ being hit. It was the lob up to Campbell Williams in the end zone that got called for pass interference on Navy. The rest of the game, like CJ said, he was talking to himself at halftime. It was like, man, have I been touched the entire game? It was phenomenal pass protection. Again, it's a largely backup-led offensive line, especially on the interior right now, and they have done the run blocking has to get better, especially with some missed assignments and push on the interior. But the pass blocking has been impeccable.
Well, they're going to have to find ways to combat what teams are doing to load the box. I think they're trying to play too standard right now, and it's a little overwhelming when you have more guys than you can block. But there are ways to circumnavigate that, and that's going to have to be a coaching thing down the stretch. Speaking of coaching, going into this game defensively for Notre Dame, it is strange every single time, and we'll tell you a couple strange things right off the bat. We talked to Jaden Osbury and Devontae Smith after the game. Those are your 2 leading tacklers in this game for Notre Dame. Osbury's been here for a minute now. He had 1 tackle against Navy in his career. He had 8 tonight. Devontae Smith never played against an option offense in his career, it sounds like. Football playing career, obviously coming over, transfer from Alabama. And he has 5 tackles, and he looks the part. Like, Notre Dame invested in him tonight without Christian Gray being able to go. And it just seems like those 2 guys kind of embodied what I saw from the Notre Dame defense as a whole was, all right, we know what we're up against. It's a weird game. It's a weird offense to go against, but it's still football. It's not football like Marcus Freeman was saying in his post-game press conference. Go play good football, and I think that side of the ball did tonight. Shout
out Josh Burnham, Junior to Halamaka, started on defensive end too. It really starts with the edge rushers against Navy. The option, they started. We did not see Boubacar Traore. That was not health-related reasons. Freeman confirmed after the game that was a coaching decision. He just, for whatever reason, the option just not as strong. So you have to remember, like, Notre Dame's personnel is always different against Navy on defense. It's a different style of defense. It's a different, like, you're trying to do different things defensively. So, like, Boubacar Traore, who's a good run defender for that matter, just for whatever reason doesn't handle the option well, didn't play. Junior Tuihalamaka, Josh Burnham did, were great. Defensive tackles, I thought, certainly got better as the game went along.
Playing without Donovan Hinish and Gabriel Rubio.
Donovan Hinish and Gabriel Rubio, they did a bang-up job. Linebackers, I thought, were fantastic. Just as well as you can defend Navy, Army and Navy. Notre Dame has done for the past 3-4 games against them. Marcus Freeman really has us down.
Yeah, and to that last point, I think it's not that he takes it personally, but he knows that this is a different game, and he attacks it as such. And Devontae Smith told us after the game, like, yeah, we worked our butts off on this over the bye week, which was obviously only 2 weeks ago for Notre Dame, so it was fresh in their minds then. you got to go get by Boston College, which Notre Dame did, and then they come out tonight and really reinforce the extra work that they put on Navy's options. So like we said at the top, 49-10, it was that good of a game for Notre Dame. I think this does nice wonders for them in terms of people that maybe were questioning their college football playoff ranking, like 7-2, 7 wins in a row. They can really reinforce it this coming week, though, against Pitt, Jack, because now you're back to playing a more conventional football team, and this is a Pitt team that is, quite frankly, better than anyone probably would have thought they were going to be this season. And they're rallying around a freshman quarterback who's come in and started their last handful of games. And Notre Dame's got to be able to press the reset button, move on from Navy, and go attack this game because you're going on the road. And like I said, for all the reasons, it's a pretty big one.
I'll add the option hangover is real. We saw that last year against USC. They were coming off Army. That was one of the reasons Al Golden thought that Notre Dame kind of got gashed in the passing game that week, that they didn't do as good of a job as they could at readjusting after Army. So obviously you have to take those lessons into a game against Pitt, that if you win, you face a Syracuse team that can't do anything. You face a Stanford team that hasn't been able to do anything for 5 years. This is it.
It's right in front of them.
Right, it's right in front of them.
And we will be there in Pittsburgh taking a little road trip, Jack. My first time in the Steel City, so I'm looking forward to that. And it should be a good game, like we were saying. Or maybe not. Maybe if this Notre Dame team shows up the way it did tonight, then like you're saying, get past that game, and you're really in the driver's seat to go back to the college football playoffs. So whether or not that happens, we're going to be there every step of the way. Keep it tuned to this YouTube channel for all of this video content, and go to blueandgold.com for our written content as well. So that's Jack Sobel. I'm Tyler Horka with blueandgold.com and Blue and Gold Illustrated.